Anxiety triggers. We all know them. Now, some of us have anxiety more than others, but we all have anxiety. It's a part of being human. It's not going away. You may be able to take a pill for a short period of time to decrease the severity or keep it out of your life for a little while, but ultimately, if you want to be able to feel better and handle anxiety in your life, you need to learn more about yourself. Once you do that and you learn techniques that help you handle it better, you can decrease the frequency and the intensity. Okay, so this is really important to know also that it's a process. You don't just learn the technique and you're perfectly, you're great at it all of a sudden. No, it takes time. I want to talk about also the causes of anxiety. It's not just about fear of the future or an uncertainty, that you don't know about an experience or what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot more than that. A lot of people experience anxiety different ways, and everyone expresses it differently as well. You can express it from, having sleep problems, physical problems, physical pain, rashes, illness, emotional problems, all kinds of stuff can come up from anxiety, okay? So one of the first things I think is really important to start to understand and learn how to deal with your anxiety is to understand yourself more and understand what your anxiety triggers are. So you make a list, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of a list. These are some of my anxiety triggers that I learned when I first started writing a list of things that cause anxiety for me years ago. Number one is suppressing feelings. A lot of people don't understand that suppressing feelings can absolutely cause a lot of anxiety. I had no idea about this years ago because we didn't really talk about anxiety that much. So I learned from my experience in really working on this and digging deep and healing and learning around what caused anxiety for me was suppressing feelings was a huge part of my anxiety. And what I had to do is go back and heal from trauma and express these feelings and get them out. And I saw a huge difference in how the less frequent anxiety happened to me. Another one, built up energy. Another one. Okay, some people just produce more energy in their body than others. I am one of those people. Exercise really helps me get that energy out. Meditation also helps. But, if you don't have enough exercise in your life, that can cause a problem with producing anxiety. Too much screen time. If you're in front of a screen too much, we've adapted to this, but it's not normal for our brains. It's just not a normal way to live. And if we have a lot of screen time and we're inside all the time and we're not getting out in nature, we don't have enough balance in our life. That's huge. And that can really affect us physically and definitely feel anxiety that way. Your input. Do you have a lot of negative input? Are you watching movies and series that are real negative? Are you watching news a lot, which is all negative? Are you doing a lot of social networking that can be negative or positive? It depends on your input. And who do you have around you? The people that are around you on a regular basis, are they very negative? Your input is huge, and it will cause a lot of anxiety if you have a lot of negative input. A lot of the things that we see out there, the unrest, a lot of things that are going on are really scary. And if you're paying attention to this and you're watching this all the time, it can absolutely put you in a state of fear and feel anxiety. And when you're watching these things and when you're listening to these things, are they right when you get up in the morning? Are they right before you go to sleep? Worst possible times, because that's the first thing in your morning, that's what you're starting your day with, or putting that in your brain before you go to sleep. If you watch violent or negative things before you go to sleep, and then that stews in your mind the whole time, you wake up, yes, you could feel anxious from that, all right? So you really, really, write it down, write what you're watching, write what you're listening to, who's around you, all this kind of stuff, okay? Constant thinking. A lot of us have this problem where we can't turn off our thoughts, right? And people say it all the time. This can seriously cause a lot of anxiety. It drains your energy. It can cause a lot of pain in your body and just exhaust you. And meditation helps dramatically with that. The to-do list. Do you get anxious over the things you have to do, like you don't have enough time to do everything? This is one of mine that I have to watch. And just watching the thoughts And catching them takes practice, because when you think a certain way for a really long time, you just think this way all the time and you don't even notice it, and you're just producing a lot of anxiety in your body. But you start to get better, and you start to watch it and correct the thought and change it right then and there. Nope, we're not going to think that way. We're going to think this way. And then you repeat it out loud, what you want to think and what you want the natural thought to be, instead of this negative thought that causes problems for you. Multitasking. Up until recently, it's still seen as an asset. Oh, multitasking. I was like the queen of multitasking. I used to brag about it all the time. Now I know it really taxes your body and is not healthy for you. Now, I understand we can't get away from this totally. Jobs require it. If you're a parent, it requires it, but when you have that mode of operation in your life that you're constantly multitasking and you do this all the time, it absolutely stresses you out, and it can produce anxiety. Moving quickly and not having enough pause between things. If you move really quickly all the time, from one chore to another chore, you walk real fast, it just produces this fast pace of thinking and moving that can be very, very draining. And even, just not having a pause in between things. Like my life used to be like a conveyor belt. I finish one project, immediately I'm on to the next. I go from one meeting to another meeting, to get on the computer. No rest at all, just constant go, go, go. It was extremely exhausting and very taxing, caused a lot of anxiety for me. Now, I take pauses in between. I take time to do tiny meditations. I take maybe, 5 minutes just to breathe really deep in and out several times throughout the day. All of this helps tremendously. And just like I said, not enough exercise, not enough nature. Really important to have balance. Once you have this list, then you evaluate it. You learn more about yourself. Why do I have that? And how do I react when I have that anxiety? You figure out where it comes from, how you think, how you react, and then you start to watch your thinking. Now, when you meditate, you have just a short little practice, 5 minutes a day. It will work that muscle in your mind, and you will get better at having more control and noticing your thoughts. So throughout the day, your mindfulness activity, as far as watching your thoughts and changing them, kicks in and gets a lot easier. All right? So this is just the first step in starting to evaluate what's causing anxiety for you, and in different ways you can think about how you can avoid or lessen it. More's coming, but start that list now. Check it out.